we'll
Own
address
as
a lot
their
of
primary.
your questions here.
Okay, own as primary. Okay. Okay, yes, two rentals. 19, wow. Just sold condo here. Okay, great. So we have some a mix of investors and also people just, wanting to know, looking for their primary residence, Dan.
Cool.
Wonderful.
So,
Okay. What do you want to learn today? That's what we're here for, right? More education. Any questions or specific thoughts and concerns and things you wanted to learn? Can you also type that into the chat box for us?
yeah, our goal is to have this be as valuable for you as possible. And one way to do that is to answer your questions. Anything particular and specific you have, yeah, we'd love to talk about that. And if not, then maybe we'll just go into some suggestions.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. So these are some very commonly asked questions, particularly because of what we're going through right now. Should I wait until prices hit the bottom? What is going to happen to prices in the next few months? What's going to happen to inventory? Are we going to see foreclosures and short sales? And should we wait for that? Will there be challenges getting tenants? This is for people who own investment properties or are looking to buy investment properties.
Question.
I want to buy, but all the funds I was going to use is in the stock market. What should I do and what can I do? And I don't qualify for what I want now. Should I wait? There's some other question. Okay, we have Ho'ipo just hoping to get as much information before purchasing real estate. Great.
Good idea.
Thank you, Ho'ipo.
Very smart.
Okay, we're gonna kind of chunk it down a little bit. That's a lot of questions. And so we're gonna take a look at the first three. Dan?
So really the question is, should I wait until the prices hit the bottom? And the only way to answer that is really it depends. It depends on you. It depends on what your goal is. If you're currently renting now and you're paying rent, basically when you're paying rent, you're paying somebody else's mortgage, right? The owner probably has a mortgage and you're paying their mortgage. Well, wouldn't it be great if you could take the same amount of money that you're paying in rent and put it to? Is that something you'd want to do? Well, most of the time, the answer is going to be yes. Some of the time, the challenge could be the down payment. So we have to figure out and create a strategy on how do we make that first step, right? They always say, when's the best time to plant a tree, right? Well, it was 20 years ago. Same thing about buying real estate, right? When's the best time to buy real estate? Yeah. As long as you're looking at the long-term game plan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, should I wait until the price is at the bottom? I'd say, how are you going to know when the bottom is, right? You're never going to know until after it passes you, right?
Always
So what we do know is that, and we're going to talk more about the prices in a few minutes, what's going to happen. And I'll show you a chart about that. And then what's really going to happen to inventory. We're going to talk about that too. So the first question for everybody, Tiff.
Our price is going to go up or down, and I'm curious to know what you guys think. Can you type into the chat box yes or no? Or sorry, up or down? What do you think is going to happen?
Drum roll. Can you hear my drum roll?
Yeah, drum roll. What do you think's going to happen, guys? Type it in. Let's see.
Down,
okay, May
yeah,
says down.
Yeah. That's like
down.
Down. Yeah. Up. Terry says up. Okay. Ricky says up. Okay. Good. A good mixture. Up and down. What we do know is that we are in unprecedented times, as you all know. We're all at home. We'd be in person, right? But in today's world, we can't do that. We're on this technology. Stores are now opening up, but so I surf a lot. And about 3 weeks ago, I was surfing in the evening down in Waikiki, and the sun set, and you looked into Waikiki, and all of Waikiki's dark. Like there's no room lights on anywhere. It was really, really scary looking, really eerie feeling, right? It never in our history of our lifetime, although most of us on this call, has that ever happened before. Yeah, this pandemic has had a serious impact on our economy in Hawaii. What do they say? With 37% of unemployment today, most of which is in the hospitality industry. Hotels, travel, restaurants. Yeah, so if you're in a role like that, yeah, we probably want to wait until you get settled, until you move forward. because prices will likely go down over time, right? Because what's going to happen is we're going to have more people in default over time because, you know, we're not going to be able to get back to 100% economy-wise. With that, there are people that are going to have to sell because they have to sell, right? And if what's really good, what's helping the market today is that we have extremely low interest rates. So we're going to talk more about that as we go down the road in this conversation. Though, what are prices going to do? They're likely going to go down, right? I mean, we haven't even begun the recession yet, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't even begun. It's just started. The banks are telling us that, and correct me if any of this is wrong, JP, the banks are telling us that, you know, that 6 months of forbearance, well, that's going to start soon if it hasn't already. So that takes us through, what is that, November or so? Then you add another couple months of grace in there. That's when the people are going to start defaulting on their loans if they didn't get back to work, if they couldn't pay their mortgages, right? And so you're going to see more and more of that happening as time goes on. Supply will rise. Supply is actually going to start rising when the stay-at-home is removed, right? Because there are a lot of sellers out there that want to sell, though they're thinking, I don't want people in my house when, you know, you've got this virus around. But once it's normalized being able to go out in public and get bigger groups and having open houses, public open houses, I think you're going to see a lot more. Well, I'm certain we'll see more open houses and more listings coming on the market. So supply is going to rise, right? And demand is going to probably stay the same. So what happens when that happens? Well, prices tend to slide a bit. And what we do is we look at trends, right? Real estate goes into, they say 7 to 10 year trends, right? Well, this is what's happened. These are the data points in median sale prices way back to January 1987. And in the late 80s, this is when the Japanese came in. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but the Japanese came and outbid each other with cash, and they bought it, and they peaked out in 1990, right? So after the peak, what happens after a peak in the market? It starts to slide. It leveled off and then took another dip. It took 12 years during this recession to get back to the same values as it was at the peak. All right, so imagine after the peak, how long does it take to get to the same values? It took, in this case, 12 years to do so, right? What happened there? Well, then after that, it started to rise again. We have another cycle. This was a huge incline, right? Anywhere from 20 to 35% every year that asset grew year over year. What happened though in 07? We hit a peak. What happens after the peak? We typically take a dip. And this is exactly what happened, right? And then we took another rise 11 time period, and we started to rise to where we are today.
Yeah.
Now, if you can see what's happened here in 2019, we kind of hit a peak, and then what are we seeing now? We're going to see a little bit of a correction, a little bit of a slide in pricing. You know, fortunately here in Hawaii, unlike many parts of the country, you know, Arizona, Nevada, Florida, Las Vegas, you know, they lost 40, 50, 60% of values when they saw the decline from here to here. We lost 7%, ladies and gentlemen. So in the state of Hawaii, we're pretty sound investment. What will happen over time? Well, my guess is your market's going to start to slide here. It's going to level off and flatten for a bit and then come back up and rebound. I'm hoping it'll rebound sooner than the rest of these. Again, the last 2 recessions, 12 and 7 years, I'm hopeful for maybe 5 to 7 years for it to come back. So if you're thinking of buying and holding on to your properties, then you may as well buy. Sooner is better than later to buy now to get equity in, because now you're one, you get a tax benefit, and 2, you're putting equity into your own property, your own pocket versus somebody else, right? Over time, that asset's going to grow, right? We know that. Over time it will, but it will take some time, okay?
Yeah, and I have a little, you know, I just talked to a gentleman the other day who told me he purchased his home in Aina Haina over 50 years ago for $50,000. And you guys, the median price in Aina Haina as of March was 1.3 million. So, you know, looking at this chart, when is it a good time to buy? Well, it's either back in 1987 or it's going to be today, because this shows you that over time, real estate appreciates, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's really good to understand how the cycles of real estate work.
Yeah, yeah. In particular in Hawaii, we're a pretty safe investment. Paul Brubaker once said, he was a chief economist for Bank of Hawaii at the time, and he said, we have very unique DNA in Hawaii. We're a little island and surrounded by the Pacific Ocean in a very highly desirable and safe environment, and with limited supply and high demand. So he said, we're very unique because we have a limited amount of growth space to build, and when limited supply, then values will continue to rise.
Absolutely.
Any questions on the chart? If not, I'm going to move on. All right.
Yes. So here's the next set of questions. Are we going to see foreclosures and short sales? I think you kind of covered that, Dan. Yeah, but do you want to go into this a little bit more?
Yeah, let's just roll right into that. So are we going to see short sales and foreclosures? Yes, we will. Will it be like it was in the last downturn? Likely not. What we're told is that the last downturn, a lot of that was due to the financial crisis, financial markets. People were buying homes where they really shouldn't have bought, right? They had stated income rule kind of qualifications, so very loosely held guidelines to get homes back then, right? And so when bad things happened, then a lot of people defaulted. Well, this go around, we don't expect that as many to happen. There will be foreclosures and short sales, and it really be contingent upon how quickly the economy comes back and people have jobs. Though we don't expect there to be as many as the first time around, because the reason why they can't pay now is because of a short-term problem, which is going back to work, right? And some of them, there will be a percentage of them that won't go back to work, right? They're gonna basically lose their jobs. But we are gonna see some short sales and foreclosures. We think that's probably gonna be towards the end of this year, early of next. And what we're telling our folks is get your cash ready and be ready on the side, and let us know, and let's put a strategy together to be real clear on what we're looking for. So should you find the right property, you can pull the trigger and you can make it happen, right? You can reach your goals.
Yeah, and John mentioned in the chat, Dan, and John is going to be our guest speaker a little bit later. He mentioned that foreclosure process takes up to 3 years to complete. So, by the time we start seeing these foreclosures, for me, where will our interest rates be? I don't know. So you may not get to have the best of both worlds. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, will there be a challenge getting tenants to pay rent? Well, again, 37% are unemployed today. So that 37%, yeah, they're going to have challenges paying. We have a property management firm. I think we have like 143 doors or something that we manage. And I think there's only a handful of people that ask for some help. So we haven't seen it yet. We do expect to see it further as time goes on. And that will be a challenge. As far as getting them to pay their rent, as far as getting tenants, obviously I think you're gonna be able to find tenants who have jobs that are essential and therefore can pay. Now, this is another question somebody asked me, Tiff. I want to buy, but I lost so much money in the stock market. Should I wait? And my answer to them is, if it were you, I probably would wait, honestly. Some people have lost some digits, some real scripts there. So, yeah. And because a lot of their money was there, they were planning on using those funds to pull out of retirement to go and invest. And it's not available now. So if I lost a lot of money in the stock market, what other opportunities are there? The other opportunity is if you own real estate and you have a lot of equity in your real estate, well, then you can put a home equity line of credit, right? A HELOC, right? When you pull a HELOC out, it's at a very low cost of the money, and you can use some of that as a down payment as well. So if you really had a desire to invest and build wealth quickly during these times, that's another option, a home equity line of credit. But yeah, I'd leave your money in the stock market. It'll come back over time. It's just leave it there for now. And I'm no financial advisor, so but talk to your financial advisor. No, just generally speaking, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a common sense kind of guy. So, okay.
What if
Okay.
I don't qualify, Dan, for what I want now? Should
Yeah,
I
I
wait?
guess the first question is, what do you want, and is that a want or is it a need, right? And really,
Hmm,
probably what we want to do is start taking a look at, well, what's the difference between the want and the need?
love
And
that.
if you can get something that will fill your needs, you should probably invest now. Because again, you can, like the lowest interest rate of our lifetimes are happening, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, holy smokes, the cost of the money is so low now. That's called leverage. And that's how people build wealth, right? Real estate's one of you can buy. Sorry to take a side note. Let's say I wanted to buy another asset like United Airlines stock. Nobody's buying that right now, but let's say United Airlines, some kind of stock, right? And I wanted to buy that, and I wanted to buy $100,000 of it, or I wanted to buy $1 million of it. It doesn't matter. How much are they going to expect me to pay? Well, they're going to expect me to pay that amount, right? $100,000 or $1 million, right? Well, real estate's one of the few assets you can buy. I can buy $100,000 asset today, but I can maybe only put $25,000 down.
Right.
What if that asset grows year over year, over time? What if that asset grows to 150,000 or 200,000? I've only put $25,000 in, but look at the gain over time. So that's what we call leverage, right? And that's what we do when we sit down and create strategies for people about building wealth. We talk about how do we create leverage in your world, your financial world, so that you can start building passive income. And ideally, the goal is to get enough passive income so you don't have to work, right? That's my goal, at least. I'm a bit away from that, but yeah, that is a goal. So yeah, leveraging the low cost of money is huge. And that's really one of the reasons why you're going to want to do this. Because you're going to find, as we talk more about loans, the impact of the rising market.
Okay, I guess another question too, that's really important, are you buying in cash or do you prefer to get a loan? Right, kind of talking to leveraging yourself.
Right.
So we do
Yeah,
have a, oh, sorry, go ahead, Dan.
We have a client right now doing a 1031 exchange. She's selling 2 condos to buy a house. And so she'll total out about $800,000 for the 2 condos, right? So we sell 2 to buy 1. And she says, well, I'm tired of paying these maintenance fees of $500 a month. That's $1,000 every month that she's paying the maintenance fees, right? I want to sell these 2 at $400 each, get $800,000 out because I have equity in all of it, right? And then I'm going to buy something in cash. And she says, I just want to top out at $800. I said, okay, that's one plan. That's a good idea. But what if, because you're still working, what if, and you have a good job, she works at the post office, what if you could get a mortgage of maybe $200,000? So now you can buy $1 million asset versus an $800,000 asset and leverage that $200,000 to build one. And if you could rent that property to pay your mortgage and then some, is that something you want to do? She said, oh, can I do that? I said, yeah, absolutely. Right? That's what we do, is we help people build leverage in their world, in their life, through the low cost of the money today and strategies of how to take what you have and improve its performance, right? We have this whole presentation for our clients, an asset performance test. And Tiff has been hugely instrumental building this massive spreadsheet. It's crazy. Yeah.
Kind of geeked out, sorry.
Our clients, they know, it's like, holy smokes, it's got everything you can imagine. It's like that designer kitchen, of the spreadsheet world. But really cool stuff. And you can analyze your assets, right? Because as you're building wealth, that's so important to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really up to you. Depends on your risk tolerance, right? So now,
Yep.
you want to introduce John?
Sure, thank you. And speaking of loans, obviously you would need a loan officer for that. So we have a guest speaker today, John Davis. He is with Oahu Home Loans. And John, I'm going to let you go ahead and give yourself an introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
You're on mute, John.
Where's John? Right there, you go.
Okay, I'm off mute. Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks, Dan. And aloha, everyone. Yes, I'm John Davis with Oahu Home Loans. We're pleased to partner with the Hara team, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all today about home buying. People are curious about the impact of the pandemic on mortgage rates. You know, what's happened is that home buyers have really been given a boost in purchasing power. Last month, the 30-year mortgage interest rate plunged to its lowest level in more than 50 years. Take a look at this, this graph we have here. So here you'll notice that in bottom right, the interest rates are down to 3.26. Went a little lower than that, actually. We saw, and I did some, yeah, it went down to 3.2.
Oh, wow. That changed from earlier this week.
Yeah. So at that rate, a home buyer with a $2,500 monthly mortgage budget could afford a home that's $51,250 more expensive than they could have in May of last year, when rates were 4.4%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
That's
So
really
the question, it goes back to the question of the whole presentation, is now the time to buy? If you looked at one variable, interest rates, absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's the cool thing, right? They locked this in not for 1 year, not for 2 years, for 30 years, right? Like, you're leveraging the next 30 years, you're borrowing money at the lowest cost you can imagine. And what happens when the rates rise?
Right. Yeah. So that price decrease or increase is it means the difference between a $457,000 home last year and $508,000 this year. The impact of the rise in the interest rates can be seen here in this chart. There's a higher payment. It's $237 a month for the same purchase price of $500,000. So that impacts your bottom line, right? And you get more house for the lesser amount too. At a higher interest rate, you're losing 11% in purchasing power. That's $55,000.
Right.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's because, you know, a lot of people buy based on what their monthly payment is going to be. That's where they're comfortable, right? So this chart illustrates if you were to keep your monthly payment at the same price, that brings, as John said earlier, brings your purchasing power down by 11% or equal to $55,000. And that could mean the difference between neighborhoods, a washer dryer, and extra parking. So it makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is an incentive to buy now, even despite the economic uncertainty that we're seeing out there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buyer, guys, who was at the top of his budget. He locked into a 3.25% mortgage rate, and he's just really excited and happy just at the flexibility he has in his finances now because of the interest rate drop that we saw. Yeah.
That's huge, right? And here's a question. Will it go up?
Well, I think the forecasting is showing rates have stabilized a lot in the past 6 weeks or so. They've stabilized at a very low rate. So we don't anticipate things jumping up. And with Fed action and the state of the economy in general, mortgage rates are expected to stay pretty low.
Yeah. So we're good for the short term then, is that what I'm hearing?
I believe so, Dan, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it would be really difficult to raise the rates now. They want to stimulate the economy. And so definitely we'll keep it late. The question is, do I buy now or a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now?
Well, it's a 50-year low that we saw. And like you said, the cycles run in 7 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And this is the lowest we've seen in a general range in 10 years.
Yeah.
This added incentive, I think, for those who are interested in buying to go for it. If you have the
We had a question in the chat, and this might be a great question for John. Is May asks about if you'd like to discuss like options between, is it a good time to refi right now or keeping her current HELOC?
Absolutely. If you have a high balance on a HELOC, it might be a good idea to take a look at how that loan will shape up. Maybe we can consolidate it and get you something that's fixed for the long term. Yeah, so it's definitely a good time to look at debt consolidation. If you're looking to, as Dan mentioned, take advantage of leverage, the HELOC may be a better option right now. it's hard to capitalize on the additional equity that you have in your home versus getting a home equity line. And there's some good promotions coming out too, by the way.
Yeah. The rates should be good for a little bit at least. You know, it'd be interesting to see a chart, John. Maybe we can look at this one day and take it offline. But would it be cool to see the same chart that we had for median sale prices with interest rates?
Oh yeah.
And overlay it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the effects of the recessions and whatnot too, yeah.
Right. I mean, when you look back at this, imagine when I graduated high school in 1981, it was 18.3%. That's crazy, right? And then when I got into real estate in 2005, was I think the first year to get under 6%. Everybody's like jumping for joy. Under 6%, that's never happened in 30 years.
Yeah.
Now look at it. It's like 3.25. That's crazy. Nobody's gonna let you borrow money like that so cheap, except the bank.
Yeah, purchasing power is a great thing. You can get more house. I've got another buyer who expanded his search in the town. This was territory that was off limits previously, but he's really excited about that. And this now it's just possible now.
So let's say somebody says, you know what, it makes sense, John. I love the rates. We should probably take the next step. What is the next step? What do you need to get pre-approved or pre-qualified?
Well, the pre-qualification process is pretty quick and easy. We can do it over the phone. What we prefer to do is to collect this list of documents that you see before you. This will help give us a more concrete number and help you understand the affordability and the price range that that monthly payment will buy you. So you can use this in your search and home hunting.
Yeah. You know, one of the first things we always have our clients do is get pre-approved because we just want to make sure our clients are comfortable with the monthly payment. I mean, that's what, at the end of the day, when we close, that's what you're stuck with. So you got to make sure that you're comfortable paying that amount. You're confident, yeah, that's not going to be a problem. And getting pre-approved is really important, right?
Yeah.
With COVID now, so many things have changed, right, Tiff?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, not only is it important to get pre-qualified because it, you know, speaks to the strength of your offer, right? It's saying that, yes, I'm willing, but I'm also able to purchase the property. Now with COVID, HBR just put out new guidelines that we actually can't take buyers into homes without being pre-qualified. So, you know, say you're at home looking online and you see a great deal coming up. We can't get you into that home unless you have all these, I guess, your ducks in a row. So very important, more so than ever, to if this is something you're considering, talk to a lender, reach out to John, start that conversation and get pre-qualified. That way we can act on something when you see it right away.
Yeah, life's changed quite a bit for us. It kind of reminds me of, you know, after 9/11, there was a thing called TSA. There was never a TSA before that, right? But now after COVID, look what happens. We have to adapt, and there's different rules and guidelines. And because of that, we know that it's really important for our buyers to be we'd rather you have you be pre-approved versus pre-qualified. Pre-qualified is just sending documents that, but pre-approved. So tell me, John, can you explain real quickly the difference between pre-approved and pre-qualified? You're on mute, John. I think he's still on mute. There you go.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the pre-approval process is a little more in depth. It requires the documents that you see in front of you. We have to run credit and get you, well, it's a little farther down the line. What we do is make sure that you're qualified to make the payments. And again, so it's a little more in depth, but it doesn't take very long to understand what payment is available for you and what price range you're at. So, you know, if I can help anyone with planning or crunching those numbers, please reach out. Don't hesitate to call or email. So
is there a cost to get pre-approved?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
There's no cost.
Oh, okay. Just for clarity purposes, there's no cost, so there's no harm in doing it to get pre-approved. Some people think that if we pull your credit, it's a bad thing. Can you share a little bit about that?
So people are concerned about that. If your credit score, and that's one of the questions that we talk about. You know, how's your credit? A free credit report with no impact on your score is available every year. We recommend people do that. Once you're serious about shopping though, if a mortgage lender pulls your credit and within a certain time frame, it's 30 days, it will have no impact. Multiple pulls will have no impact.
Thanks, Chad. One tip, if you're thinking about buying a home, don't buy a car. Don't buy a car. Wait till you buy a home first, so you have a place to park it. I mean, we've heard people have done that, and that's probably not a good thing. Anyways.
We have a question from the chat room. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure we get it in there. Ho'oipo is asking, how much is required for a down payment usually, or recommended at least?
You know, everyone's situation is different. I personally will recommend a 20% down. This will save you money and get you a lower rate. I mean, less risk for the lender equals less cost and less rate for you as the buyer. But we can go all the way up to 100% financing if you're a service member or veteran, or 3% down will work on FHA lending. Yeah? Then you're talking about mortgage insurance, which can add to the cost, your monthly cost. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So it's just really about getting there. Oh, sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. So it sounds like there's some different options that people could go towards once they sit down and understand that. Yes. Sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
No, May wants to know what are the interest rates for investors today?
Oh, rates for investors are slightly higher. Sorry, I'm trying to find my rate sheet here. It's 3.5 versus 3.25 for owner occupants. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a quarter point more, right? Roughly.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's still extremely low. I mean,
it is
incredibly low.
Yeah.
Well, nice. All right, so let's move on. Here's another one we just heard from somebody. I want to buy, however, I was furloughed. What are my options? And my suggestion would probably, and John, you let me know if this makes sense or not from the financial world, but my guess is you're probably going to want to get your income consistent again, right? You want to wait till you get back to work and make sure that that income, because the lender is going to check on that, right, John?
Yes. So your stream of income has been interrupted. We're going to make a call and just to make sure that your income gets back going again. This is good because we need the history of work there as well. So it's good that we can just pick it right back up where it was.
So if somebody was furloughed but is expecting to go back to work in 2 weeks, what are your suggestions?
I think the search continues. It's a matter of, yeah, I think it's a matter of closing though. I think you have to put your time frame out until you knew and you had a serious conversation with your employer. And again, things are very uncertain, so it's nothing is certain. For that, you'd have to be as sure as you possibly could.
What about someone who is sees, you know, they're furloughed, their situation, and but they see something that they really want and they want to write an offer? Are they able to write an offer given that they are furloughed? And just kind of, I don't know. That's a question I came across.
I think it depends on the agents that write the offer. Yeah, it'd be a really good offer, right? But again, I think if there's a time frame that we can look forward to when employment will be resumed, then we can operate off of that. Yeah.
Thank
you.
So
it sounds like I want to buy, however, I was furloughed. What are my options? It sounds like they can just keep moving forward. They just probably can't close unless that's firmed up and confirmed by the lender, right? It sounds like things are opening up now. That's a good thing. Sounds like there's a little retail going to open up. We'll see when everything else does, but you know, it's moving in the right direction. So I'm hopeful that you know, the number of cases stay low and we can continue opening up with certain guidelines. Right? And then, you know, people's income are going to definitely be restored. Cool. All right. So moving on. So there's a number of ways people build wealth. Building wealth through real estate. Well, let me back up by saying some of us have jobs, like us. We have jobs, so it's an active income, right? We have to do something to make money, right? That's active income. Passive income is you don't actually do anything. it's passive, it just shows up, right? And that's where the investment properties show up, where you buy an investment property every month, it yields you a return every month, right? So that's how a lot of wealthy people have built wealth, is through their investment properties. They put 25% down or more, they're buying real estate, there's a positive cash flow. For example, for us, we have our home and we have a investment property here in Oahu, and we have 2 in Texas. Well, all of them, we put 25% down actually, for all 3 of them. All of them are slightly a positive cash flow. I mean, we're not making tons and tons of money, but we're making money. But the biggest thing is they've all increased in value, right? The ones that we bought have anywhere increased between $50,000 and $80,000 over time. And so that's how we start building wealth. And then you can parlay that into the next property as you start building wealth. But know that building wealth through real estate, it's based on time, right? And it's not going to happen overnight. Unless you're looking at active income through real estate, then you're looking at buying and flipping properties. You know, Tiff's really good at that. She's done, her and her husband are masters and do it all the time. We've done it also, and from our team standpoint, we've actually had classes to teach that. Is now a good time for that? You better just find the right property.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta find the right property. People make money in active income, building wealth through real estate, flipping homes on the buy, right? You gotta buy it. You gotta buy it at the right price, right? If you pay too much for it, put too much into it, and then you try to sell it, you might lose money. So I would say that there will be a time, and there might be some now that are available. But yeah, gather your coins on the side, and let's see. We can sit down and put a strategy together for you to help you build wealth in that area. So obviously the goal is to remove your active income and replace it with passive income, right? And then we can all do whatever we want to do.
That is the dream.
That is the dream, right?
All right, I want to know who has thought of investing in real estate? I think we had some of those answers before earlier. We have a couple of people looking for investments, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, May had a really good point. She said, consider creative financing, like seller financing.
Oh.
Yeah, we actually just closed the transaction recently for a buddy of mine, bought a property, and we did it as seller financing. It was a really cool experience. He's going to build a house, so it was really a short-term strategy for him because he's got long-term goals. But it worked out really well for him, so he's super stoked. It was the cheapest way to do that.
For people who don't know or are not familiar, there's a lot of new time people on today. Can you briefly explain what seller financing means?
So basically it's an agreement between buyer and seller that the buyer is going to pay the seller X amount of dollars, either a lump sum, and often it's lump sum and it's monthly, right? At a fixed rate for that time period. It's typically a shorter time period, 2-3 years, maybe sometimes 1 year, sometimes a little longer. I've only done a few of them. Though we're going to start seeing more of them over time, right? As the market shifts again, these are good opportunities to make it a win-win for everybody. Win for the seller, win for the buyer. Everybody wins in that case. So that's a great thing to consider. Thanks, May, for bringing that up. All right. Oh, so I guess we'll move on here. So if you're thinking of investing, if you can put in the chat box, what's preventing you from investing today? What would be the thing that would be holding you back? Can you put that in the chat box? We're interested to learn. Good deals. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There actually are, believe it or not, there are good deals out there. There aren't as many. You just got to find them. And when you're like a hawk on the market and you study the market every day as we do, you know the good deals that come through. In addition, we bring in a lot of listings, and sometimes there are good deals in that pile of listings as well, because sellers want to just want the easy button, right? So sometimes we're able to connect the buyer and seller together without having to go to the market. And it usually works as an what's involved in investing? That's a good question, Kurt. We can actually sit down and create a strategy and make sure you understand what are the elements, what do we look for in an investment property, and what are the things that could go wrong, right? And that can really, this class would have to be 10 days for me to explain everything to you, of the different routes you could go. My suggestion is we just get on another private Zoom and we can talk to you about your own situation.
It depends on your goal too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, everything is,
Everyone has a different situation and different goals. So yeah, things like that I think would be great to have that dialogue and create that strategy for each individual person.
I was sitting with my son the other day and he said, Dad, explain what you do to me. And I said, well, I'm kind of like the real estate physician. I'm like the real estate physician because I'm not going to prescribe anything until I know what the problem is or what the opportunity is, what you're looking to do, what your goals are, how's your family. Because the decisions you're making, the strategies we create is not for this today and not about selling real estate or buying real estate. It's about how do I create a strategy for your life? Right? How do I create a strategy for your life, but also something that we can create to create generational wealth? Right? Things that will impact future generations, because the actions you make today are going to impact future generations. And it's really important to make sure that you have a strategy, a sound strategy around what that could look like. And I gotta tell you, every single one of our strategy sessions we have with our clients are all 100% unique. But it's really from our standpoint as a physician, I'm coming from curiosity. I'm trying to understand, get into what's valuable to you, what means the most to you, and how do you create the life worth living for you and your family. And that's good. And then we create a strategy and then we execute on that strategy. Oh.
Hey Dan, I just want to mention real quick, we're pretty much at that hour, so just wanted to let you know of the time.
Oh, okay. 15
yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Are we ending at 11:30?
I think it was 11. I thought it was 11:32, but just wanted to let you know, be aware of.
Thanks. Okay. So the question really is, what's your strategy, right? Do you have one? And how do you create one? It's not that hard, but it takes some. I've had thousands of these conversations, literally thousands of with families about what to do. Many of them are wealthy, some are not, and they want to build. Some are in the middle, and we just sit down and kind of talk about their life and, how do we get there? What does that take to get there? And then we create one. But it really starts, a lot of it's the risk tolerance. Like, what's your elasticity of risk? Like, how much are you willing to risk, right? Most people, at least for the clients that we work with, it's really not much, right? Most of our clients are not risk takers. And I'm personally not a big risk taker. So I'm more conservative. When I look for properties for clients, I'm looking at it as if that were me, would I do it, right? And if the answer is no, then I'm gonna let our client know that, so I can't advocate for that. You can go ahead and buy it, I'll help you, though, and here's why. And then I will explain that, right? So it starts with risk tolerance, then it goes into like your big why. Right? Why are you doing what you're doing? I mean, is it just to make money? What is the money going to do for you? Does it take your family to Disney World? Is it to pay for college education? Is it taking care of your long-term care needs? We have a client that he's a prominent doctor and he's taking care of all of his kids has houses. Now he's working on getting houses for all of his grandkids. I mean, he's got a big why. He's got a lot of grandkids, but he's on his track. And it's like so amazing to watch people really create a legacy with what they've built over time. And again, it doesn't take that much. You don't need 100% to buy something, remember? All you need is 25%, right, to buy something. Well, wrapping up, we started in real estate 15 years ago in 2005. I started in real estate. My wife, Julie, followed me right after that. She joined and supported us, and we've grown to a large organization. I think we have 28 of us now that have specialties. We have buyer specialists, listing managers, listing specialists. We have chief negotiators. We've got a marketing department. And that's just our real estate team. And then we built a company called Senior Move Managers in Declutter, Hawaii. And this company was built 10 years ago because we found a problem. And the problem was we had a lot of older adults wanting to sell their home and move, but they had two problems. One, where do I go? How much does it cost? What does life look like? And once you solve that problem, which we became the so-called local placement company. And then the other problem is their stuff, right? We get trapped by our own personal belongings. So 10 years ago, we started a company called Senior Move Managers. We've helped over 750 families go through their transition of moving from one place to another. And then we built Declutter Hawaii because some people said, I'm only 85 years old, I'm not a senior, or I'm not moving. And I said, okay, well, if you still want help, we can help you. It's the same company. And then High Property Management was because we had investors buying properties, and they said, well, I want to buy it, but I want you to manage it. And so we didn't have it at the time. 3 years ago, we built it with a gentleman that's been doing this for, gosh, going on 20 years now. And we built Stage Hawaii because staging was very important to the way things look. In today's world, as you all know, everyone looks on their cell phone, right, for real estate. Well, what are they looking at? They're looking at pictures. Tiffany actually runs our Stage Hawaii, and you look at our properties, they all are pretty consistently gorgeous looking. And that's Tiffany and my son James, who helps out as well, and the other boys. And then Silver Spoons is a nonprofit designed to take care of older adults who cannot take health. And what we do is we take the proceeds from all these companies, and the percentage of profit goes into Silver Spoons to serve our community. We have a number of other series. So we've got the whole month of May, which is really exciting for us. We've got Thursdays, we got Seller Series. On Saturdays, we have Buyer Series. The next one we have is I'm a Trustee, Now What? So if you know anybody who's a trustee of their parents' trust or a successor trustee, then they may want to dial in for this, because we'll talk a lot about ways we can help them. And then, how do I know when it's time to sell? And then building wealth through a 1031 exchange. So go to our website, ihara.eventbrite.com, and register for those future classes. And then a whole buyer series again, the top things to know before buying a home. I think somebody asked more of that. I think Kurt did better understand investing. So that's a good one. The top 10 things before buying a home, really important. Building wealth through investing in real estate. And then your rights when buying a home. This one, if you're thinking of buying a home, you got to see this one. This is where the rubber meets the pavement. This is where advocacy lies, and this is how we protect our clients. And that's why they're happy to have people that will look out for your best interests before our home. Wrapping up, I am running out of time. Real simply, we have a mission that says to honor God by serving others with the highest level of competency, care, and compassion with uncompromising integrity.
Awesome.
So we do have, if you want a free strategy session, there's no cost, no obligation. Just put in the chat box, and we'll have Carrie will reach back out and put that on the calendar. Again, no cost, no obligation. Our goal is to better understand what you want and help bring clarity to what your future could look like and the opportunities for you, create a strategy for you, and help you walk down the path. Right? And then feedback, we love feedback. So if you could let us know what you thought, we'd really appreciate it. And that's a really long word. It's not a word, website. And then the upcoming seminars are over at iharateamhawaii.kw.com and webinars. And then we have the same site, you go to the virtual walkthroughs. So if you're interested to see our virtual walkthroughs, take a look at that. We have 2 open houses tomorrow. Let's see, I think it's at 2 o'clock. They're live, and then they'll also be recorded. So we have one in Aina Haina, and then also one in Mililani. Okay. So I think that's it. That's the last slide.
Yeah, we all of you are registered because you have signed up for this one. So about a couple of days before each topic, we'll be sending you the Zoom link to get in. So if any of those topics piqued your interest, you'll be able to join. But yeah, does anyone?
And to clarify, Tiffany, yeah. So with the buyer series, you guys joined us for the buyer series. Thank you guys so much. we have you, because it's a series, we'll send you the link for the buyers. If you guys are interested in joining us on Thursdays, we would definitely want to know that so we can send you that link as well.
Thanks, Carrie.
Yes. Any
Does anyone
other-
have questions, I guess, before we? Oh, awesome. Thanks, Ho'oipo. Great. Thank you, Martin.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks, all people.
Thank you, May, for all of your engaging questions and comments.
It's awesome.
Have a wonderful, blessed weekend. All the moms out there, happy Mother's
Yes.
Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Yes, Tiff, happy Mother's Day. Julie, happy Mother's Day.
Yay!
We all have mothers, right? I hope.
I hope. You would think.
Cool, cool. All right. If there's no other questions, again, let us know if you have any specific questions, if you want to dial into the future ones. Again, please let us know if you want a free strategy session, and we would love to hear your feedback. So we look forward to staying close to you. Share your thoughts on what you've experienced today. And any way we can do, anything we can do to help serve you, please let us know. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Okay. John, Martin.
Hey, can you hear us?
So, oh, where's Carrie? We need Carrie back.
Yeah, I think I was trying to kick everybody off.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Yes,
hey, good
thank
job.
Have a good
You did a
weekend.
good job.
No, it was really good. It was really good.
I'm a rookie at this stuff, and you guys are pros, so I appreciate it.
No, no, thank you. We're gonna do this a lot, as you saw. So be ready.
Okay, hey, thank you guys very much. Have a good one.
Okay, take care.
Hey, thank
Thanks.
you. Wait. Carrie's gonna jump back on.
Carrie and Tiff.
Oh wait, let me stop recording.
Hot.